Alrighty, well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Deadass podcast. I'm your host, Bryzy. Today, I have a guest come in who reached out to me and wanted to share one of his stories, a journey that he had to endure. Quite a journey from what we've heard, very life-changing. And so today we have Matthew Hill, or known to his mates as Hilly. So thanks for coming in, mate.
Sweet. Thank you very much. Hey, it's good to be here.
No, you're welcome, dude. Look, so you have got quite a crazy and life-changing, enduring story to tell.
It's been a long road for sure.
Long road. How long has it been so far, mate, this journey?
So I had the accident start with in 2018. So so coming up 5 years.
5 years,
So,
wow.
Yeah.
So to run through with people, so basically what we do here is we give an opportunity to people to share some stories and memories of their life.
Yep.
Some good, some bad, some traumatic, some life-changing, and that's what some of these are today. So, mate, leading up to your accident, what was your... What go through with me some of the things that you're involved with and leading up to that moment. Had you had something similar happen to you before with accidents or something like that? So run us through a little bit of that as well. Sorry.
Yeah. So at the time when I had the accident, I was 19.
Yeah.
I'd only just freshly really started my apprenticeship.
Sure.
I'm an electrician by trade.
So you left. So you how old were you when you started your apprenticeship? 19.
So no, when I started, I was 17. It was the start of 2017.
So straight out of high school,
Yep.
straight into doing an apprenticeship. You started your apprenticeship. You're going through that.
Yeah.
You're going through that, and then
Yep.
and this happens.
Yeah, so originally, before I went through this particular accident, I had actually had two before. In primary school, high school, in year 9,
Yep.
I fell off my bike again. And at the time, broke my jaw. That was
damn.
bad enough as it is. You can imagine eating particular stuff in a form that you can actually eat it when you got a broken jaw.
What did you have to do? Like eat it through a straw or something, or was it just sort of like a case of like really soft, mashy?
Yeah, really soft, mashy. It threw a straw in some situations, but
After-
you'll probably laugh at this particular one.
Yeah.
So I remember my mum had cooked casserole this night.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was just a beef casserole. So
Yeah.
she's minced it up and whatnot, put it in a bowl.
Yeah.
What's beef casserole in a bowl look like to you?
It looks like shit.
Yep, it literally looked like shit. And I definitely told her that.
Yeah. Did it? Did it taste like shit, or did it taste like a casserole?
It tasted good, but I
tasted
was
good,
like,
yeah.
I am not eating this. I cannot bring myself to this.
Well, so is there anything that you could stomach that was nice to eat or drink? Well,
I didn't
more
really
like
have too much. It was just...
How long did you have to do that for?
a couple of weeks until I could, it fixed itself, but just couldn't exactly go and chew hard
So
stuff.
now you can't look back on smoothie casseroles anymore.
And think, I really feel I'm craving shit in a bowl.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so once I went through that, I got over that and
was it
had
so
that issue.
you had the broken jaw?
Yeah,
Did you
so-
sustain any other injuries as well as a part of the broken jaw?
Not in that instance, really. It was
But to
just
break
a bit
your
of
jaw, you would have still copped a fair bit of a grunt to the face and to the head.
I
you know,
went
which could have-
Superman over the bars.
True.
And
that's what it was the cause of. You were
and hit
downhill
the bitumen, actually. No, this was just riding to school.
riding to school. So
Yeah.
it's just going to school.
All my accidents, apart from one particular time,
Yeah.
has just been silly things.
So what did you hit going to school? Can you remember?
The bitumen.
The bitumen.
ground.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, like, did you hit like a rut in the road or something? Or
No, I was just at the time young again,
trying to.
young silly things,
Yeah.
pushing around the corners, and it had been raining. It was a bit dewy as such.
Sure.
And on slippery concrete, front just slipped out
Slipped
and I
out.
hit the ground.
Yeah.
But then Alan was up here this day, actually.
Yep, okay,
I think
sure.
he'll help me down.
Yeah.
So this was my first year of my apprenticeship, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Believe
wow.
it or not. I was up racing mountain bikes
Yeah.
with the mountain bike club at the time.
Sure.
And then I was on my second stage of this particular race, and on the way down, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but long story short, I come off the bike, put my arm out to reach for something to stop the fall.
Sure.
And then I broke my elbow and
Shit.
then struggled with my elbow for the next 12 months because I had a titanium plate that went from my elbow to 3/4 of the way down my forearm.
For the people who are listening, the length of his scar on his elbow is probably a good 15, 20 centimeters long.
Yeah,
it's huge.
decent.
Yeah. Did you have complications after the surgery with getting that plate in? Was there a bit of physiotherapy and
heaps
having
of it. Yeah.
try and recover from that and stuff?
It was just trying to actually get the movement back in my arm. Like
Sure.
I had no movement. It was painful. It was everything like that. And like after 12 months, I got to a point where I was okay with it, but it just couldn't straighten. And
Yeah, sure.
at the time, I loved my mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And riding the mountain bikes, I wasn't really enjoying it because, believe it or not, as you're going down the hill, your arms are bouncing around, your arms are trying to straighten.
Yeah,
so the
of course.
titanium plate is hitting on the top bone. Yeah, it didn't feel great.
So have you still got it in there now?
They took it out.
They took it out. Was it what was going on with it? It was moving, or it was.
No, it was just in that like
It was in a shit
the bone.
spot.
The bone got to the point where it was ready to come out.
Ah, okay,
So
sure.
They took it out, and when they took it out, within a couple of weeks, like I had no pain anymore, and I was
Sure,
like, I'm
okay.
gonna try riding the mountain bikes again.
Oh, jeez.
And then I got myself back on the bikes. Absolutely loved it, and
How long were
then
you? Yeah.
sorry.
No, keep going. You're right.
Then I bought a new bike.
Oh, you bought a
And-
new one. Okay.
And
yeah.
I got into it properly and whatnot. And I had probably 2-3 months worth of riding the bike 4 or 5 times a week. Like I was fully into it.
Yeah,
My
yeah, good
Saturday
on ya.
morning, I'd be going for like a 20-25 kilometer ride up the mountain bike tracks.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, got into it properly and so had no issues with anything there. Started getting good on the bike, if I say myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But then just this one afternoon, like I'd been at TAFE again for my electrical apprenticeship
Sure.
at the time, and it was my first day back at work after being at TAFE. And then from that point, so what happened is I was on the way home from work. I was like, it was my first day back at work. I was tired after my first day, and then on the way home, I was texting the missus at the time, and she was just going for a walk up Frenchville Road. So I figured I'll just hop on the bike and I'll ride around there. Like
course.
I don't really 100% feel like going up mountain bike tracks herself.
Yeah.
And then from that point, I decided, yeah, I'll do that. And went up there, mucking around as young kids do.
Sure.
Jumping around off the side of the road. And
Yep.
I've got photos there of the situation. I'll show you later.
Yeah,
But,
you're right.
yeah, so just this little downward slope off the side of the road. There was probably a gap from me to your way.
Yeah, sure.
It was just a little drop off, about half a metre high.
Yeah.
And then there was a downward slope on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Apparently, she was there at the time, and according to her, I was swearing midair.
Oh, okay.
I jumped off it. I was doing story. I did it twice.
yeah.
First time, I mustn't have landed it properly or something like that. I have no memory of the situation.
Yeah, sure.
But, so jumped off it. Then I went back up the hill to do it again. The second time I was going like nearly 10 Ks an hour faster.
Oh, okay, sure.
Lovely Garmin GPS.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so got to the top of the hill and went a bit faster. Then apparently in the middle of air, something went wrong and I just cartwheeled down the hill.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Smashed my face directly on the rocks. I
Yeah.
had a helmet on and everything,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Did the helm, was it more front impact as opposed to the top?
You can see just here I've got a scar on my eye.
Along your eyelid there.
I cut from my eyebrow down into my eyelid.
Wow.
And I also put my tooth through the top lip.
And
as
did you
well.
also sustain an injury up here as well?
That's
That's a
another-
later thing?
That's
Oh,
the
shit.
yeah.
So that was the initial impact, that part there, mainly on the side of the face there.
So what happened is I suffered 2 bleeds. So
Yeah,
when I
okay.
say there's 2 bleeds, you've got a fluid that circulates your head. Mm-hmm. They call it a cranium fluid of some type. It's CFS fluid.
Yep.
And so that circulates your head at a certain flow rate per hour. Mm-hmm. And from that point, because I had bleeds in the brain, it had bleeds into tracks where that's supposed to circulate.
Okay, so when you were, just to hold you there for a second,
Yeah.
do you remember anything from that crash? So as soon as you cartwheeled and you went face first, and then from that point, do you remember anything?
I was knocked out straight away.
Straight away.
Yep.
And before we go into it, when was the first time that you regained consciousness that you remember? What was the first thing?
So this happened on the 27th of November.
Yep.
I don't remember till after Christmas, and it's very patchy.
And that was the 27th of November was when you had the crash, and you're looking at Christmas.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
that gives people a bit of a perspective. So what happened was you've had your crash, and then a result has been a brain bleed. Now, you were unresponsive at the scene.
Yep.
The girlfriend has called the ambulance.
She called my family actually,
Yeah,
and
sure.
there was other people there who, again, family friends.
Sure. Yeah.
Other people as well. It's Frenchville Road. There's plenty of people up there.
Yeah.
So someone called the ambulance. The ambulance got there and whatnot. And yeah, I'm taking.
And you're unresponsive the whole time.
Yep.
They've
Apparently, I was shaking. One of my arm was shaking. So
Probably it's severe brain damage, mate. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I just got people getting knocked out all the time. You see them going stiff or they have a fit.
Definitely.
It's a good possibility that's what was happening.
Yeah.
Did your family end up coming to the scene, or did they meet you up at the hospital?
I
what
believe
do you
mum
remember?
and dad did come to the scene, yes.
Yeah,
And
okay.
my brothers may have. I'm unsure. But so we went from ambulance come to the scene and whatnot, and long story short, so that family friend took my bike back to their house. They lived just around up the road.
Yep.
And we went straight from there to the hospital.
Yep.
I was in I don't know which ward it was in particular, but in the hospital, and they obviously unconscious. They made the call, and by 2:30 the next morning, I was on a plane going to Brisbane.
Was it like the Royal Flying Doctors plane or something? Yeah.
Royal Flying Doctors. So there was originally, I was supposed to be going to a different hospital, but I ended up going to the Peter Alexander in Brisbane.
Did your family? So obviously, when they're at the Rockhampton Hospital, they've determined that something's seriously going on here. Did they? They already know what was wrong with you at that point, or was it because they didn't know what was wrong with you? That's why they sent you to Brisbane, or is it purely because of the severity of the case? Did they mention anything that to you, or did they say any of that stuff to your family?
It may have come up over the past few years, but it's been a long time since then.
Yeah,
but,
of course, But obviously, it's
most
either
likely.
way. That's why you've been transferred down there.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
But in the long run, I went to Brisbane, and I was in Brisbane. Family flew down the next morning,
And you're still unconscious by all this from what their recollection?
Yep. And then after getting there, I was in ICU. I was in ICU for 8 or 9 days in a coma.
Shit.
So that was induced in the long run.
Sure.
But induced coma in the long run, and for 8 or 9 days, at the end of it, apparently they were waking me every 4 hours.
Sure.
To be able to see if there's any changes.
Oh,
anything
okay.
like
Yeah,
that.
right. Yeah.
So-
And like cognitive function or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
And from that point, I went into what they call, it was the 2C ward.
Okay.
So it's still a critical care ward.
Yep.
But again, I was conscious at that point. So, but I'd gone into while I was in Brisbane, I had 3 serious brain surgeries.
Wow.
So you mentioned before, just the scar just there.
Yeah.
So both sides of my head, just there, I've got, at the time, it would have been a 20 mil hole drilled
Shit.
in either side to relieve the pressure
pressure?
that was
Yeah.
built up. So they drilled both holes and cleaned it out and whatnot.
Yeah.
Sewed it back up. Then it was a week or two later, they got in and opened this side up again.
Yeah, sure.
Because it was
Swelling?
It was leaking.
Leaking. Okay.
It was actually leaking that fluid
Cranial
out
fluid, yeah.
through the scar. So
Shit.
yeah, and then so that was in the long run. Like, there's a lot of stuff other than this that's happened in the meantime. Like during this, all this.
Yeah,
stuff
keep going
happening
through
here.
what's happening at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to know what your family was experiencing through that moment too, mate. Like for me, if it was my son, I would be fucking shitting my pants. Like I would
Yeah.
be concerned for the well-being of my child. I would be scared that I would be a fucking mess. I don't even know how I'd keep it together.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm sure your parents are very strong people, and I'm sure
Definitely.
and I'm sure there was probably a lot of praying and a lot of hoping for the best. But did they come straight down as well from what
Yeah,
you can remember or what they told
it
you?
was difficult for mum and dad because mum and dad run their own business.
Sure.
Dad's been a plumber for a long time now. He's run the business for over 20 years.
Yeah, sure.
And mum's just run the admin side of it and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to run that business while I was in hospital.
Mate, my hat goes off to them. I don't know
Yeah.
how they could do that, mate. Honestly, the strength that they've shown, obviously keeping going through,
Yeah.
knowing that their son is obviously going through what he's going through and
Yeah.
trying to obviously keep running the business. And
Yeah.
I could only imagine.
All while having people work for you as well.
Yeah, of
and
course. Yeah,
whatnot.
definitely.
So,
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
keep the doors open. You've
Yep.
got other people that are reliant on you as well.
Yeah, good point there.
Mm.
So yeah, I know mum physically. Even I was just talking to her this morning about it.
Sure.
Actually,
Yeah.
she said we didn't know how we were going to get you back.
Yeah, of
Like,
course. Yeah.
The state I have come back in myself.
Yeah.
The doctor put it down to being, well, the specialist actually
Sure.
put it down to being part of the 10%.
Wow. Okay.
It was either 35 or 45% of people
Yeah.
who, after such injury,
Yep.
are bedridden for the rest of their
Wow,
life
okay.
and needing
Full care.
constant care.
Wow.
So,
So you can imagine your mum and dad
Yeah.
being told that news
Yep.
because you were still unresponsive or unconscious at that point.
Yeah.
You weren't to know, and
Yeah.
they weren't to know what was going on, and the doctors can only give them some statistics of what's going statistics
I woke
of
up
what was
and I
going on.
couldn't-
Yeah.
I woke up and I couldn't exactly I had to learn everything.
Yeah.
So,
Did you? So when you, what's the first? Can you remember the first thing that you? Can you remember something? What was the first thing that you remember after it? Do you remember anything after it? Like anything? What was
I
your first
remember
recollection of something?
the only thing I really remember to start with was when I was in the brain injury
Mm-hmm.
ward in Brisbane, which is what they call BIRU.
Okay.
So I just remember sitting in my room, in my bed, and it was mum or dad was coming down the hallway because obviously they were flying to
Yeah.
and from Rocky and whatnot all
Yeah.
the time, trying to run the business and everything else like that. And just remember them coming down the hallway, and at the time, put it simply, I was a bit of a vegetable. So
yeah. Right. Far
I
out.
was like,
Yeah.
I was so excited, so happy and whatnot that my family was there. And
So now, obviously, injuring your brain in such a state, there is going to be repercussions of what was to come. Now, what? So that first point, when you've come out of it, did you have function in your arms and legs and stuff?
yeah, so I in the ward down there, Burra,
Yep.
so what I had was a physiotherapist, I had an occupational therapist, and also had a speech pathologist.
Okay. Yeah.
So the physiotherapy, they literally taught me how to walk again.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Speech pathologist again was learning everything about
So-
talking, writing, everything.
So essentially, you had the ability to do it, but you needed to learn to do it again.
The way they put it down to is the point that the memory, like I have, the only thing I've come out of this with is a bit of, I struggle a little bit with short-term memory.
Okay. Sure.
And the way they put it down is your long-term memories are still in your brain. You've lost the track to them.
Okay. Sure.
So all it is just recreating the the paths to get to those memories.
Did they say that you'll always lose that track, or is it a track that you can regain?
Well, never really put down to it exactly, but it's something I can regain. So
Okay.
I've seen that. Like
And have you picked, even nowadays, do you come across things like, oh, hang on a minute,
yeah,
I do remember this, or
I
something,
know
you know,
this,
like,
but I don't exactly remember how to do it perfectly.
Yeah, sure.
It's like I've seen this before. It's like, you know how you have those moments where you're like, I know this, and you're like,
and it's ticking on you. And you're like,
Yeah.
why do I know this? How do I know this?
yeah, I have them more often than
Yeah,
not.
yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah,
But
that's great. So how long did you spend down in Brisbane from that point?
Yeah, so administered on at the time it would have been the 28th of August, or 28th of November. Sorry.
Yep.
I didn't leave until the 23rd of January. So I
Wow.
was in Brisbane for 2 months.
2 months.
And if it wasn't for like the support of everyone back home, like the mountain bike club themselves, they ran a fundraiser. And
what's the name of that mountain bike club?
Rockhampton Mountain Bike Club.
That's Rockhampton Mountain
Yeah.
Bike Club. Well, shout out to them for that
absolutely.
support. Yeah.
And at the time, I know there was a lot of other people involved, but Dan Whitten was the president at the time, and he was having chats with mum and dad all the time and whatnot. So it was phenomenal what they did to me. And like, it was a big fundraiser day they had up there and everything. That was just come ride the tracks and the story behind
Just
it
to
and whatnot.
get some money out there to help with everything that was going on.
Absolutely. So,
Oh, that's cool, mate. And just obviously constant support from your family and friends and whatnot as well. Yeah. So it was late January that you actually got out. And did you just come back up home, or was it you had to come back up to hospital up in Rocky?
I came back to home, but it was the point of I was still technically administered to the geriatric ward up at the base.
Yep.
And it was go and see them once a week or every 2 weeks or something like that. And they just run through. Again, it was
And
like
then what did they do?
pathologist
Yeah, they
and
put
that
you on a
sort of thing.
program that you had to do? What were some of the things you had to do when you got home?
Well, because I had to learn to walk again and whatnot, I struggle with it to this day.
Sure.
Like, you can see the strapping tape marks around my ankle right now.
Yeah. What's that from?
Well, because I got out of the bikes.
Yeah.
Because it scares me a little, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, look, I would you know what, mate? I'd probably put down the fucking bikes too.
But yeah, so from that point on, I kind of took up running. And
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's probably the best way to learn, isn't it? Get out and run.
Yeah, definitely. And it gave me a way to test myself and whatnot, and go on and just strive for something to get better at something. And like, I got to the stage where I'm struggling to run a 5K, and started last year, I ran a marathon to the beach on New Year's Day. So,
really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It was not easy at all.
No, but that's in the space of a couple of years, mate, considering that you had such a traumatic injury.
Since then, I kind of just gave
that's a
up.
credit.
So,
but that's a credit in itself. Hey, look, you can tick that off the list, mate. That's something that not many people do.
Absolutely. So
That's a hard thing to do. So, that's a credit to yourself, mate, for sure. And I guess you just did, what did you do? A lot of training, a lot of perseverance.
Yeah,
and plus, you were at a disadvantage to start with as well.
Say a disadvantage, but
when I say disadvantage, you had to start further back than the others. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. Like, it was hard to get to that point. Like,
of course, yeah.
It was like the people I had around me got me into it and whatnot.
Sure.
And I still run to this day. I still go running every week and whatnot, but I really only just take my dog running now. So.
Yeah, it's a cool best companion to take with you anyway. Hey,
and she complains if I don't take her running.
What type of dog is she?
Border Collie.
Ah,
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy thing.
Yeah, got a soft spot for them.
Yeah.
I got a soft spot for dogs in general. Yeah, so you actually persevered and you did a marathon. Good on you, mate. Was there any other? What were some of the other things you had to do after you left the hospital and got back home?
Yeah, so getting back to work was a very difficult thing. Like, I had to get sign off to get back to work. It was a thing of, so it was sign off from here, from the hospital in Rocky, being signed out of there, and have the sign off to go back to work that I'm in a fit and ready state.
Sure.
And Then it was also sign off from Brisbane Hospital and the specialist down there. And it was another thing of like where I was working at the time, they got I was a return to work specialist. I forget his particular job role name, but they got him involved in it. It helped a lot.
Okay.
I have to say that. But to get back to work, it was sign off from here, sign off from that. And then they did a thing that was I actually, hats off to them for doing it because I wouldn't handle it any other way.
Yeah, sure.
To start it, they called it a graduated return to work.
Okay,
So at the start of it, I was just going 2 days a week for 4 hours. And every time every time I went to work and I had a successful week as such and I had no issue, we then bumped it up to say it was 2 hours more for 2 days more the next week. So
so like compounding.
So a compounding week basically. Exactly. Yeah. So,
And what? How long was it? Like from the time you had your accident to when you actually got back to full time work? How long was that? Roughly.
Would have been 8 or 9 months.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long time. Like by the time actually, because it was 8 or 9 weeks doing this graduated.
Did you find that you had a lot of muscle wastage and stuff like that? Did you lose a lot of weight and whatnot after from the accident, and then you had to rebuild a bit of strength? Did you do a bit of resistance training and stuff like that to sort of get your muscles back into shape as well? And
the running kind of helped with that, but the running only really helped with my lower body, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But that was another side of things. Like I struggle with so much stuff in this, and because like I got into the bike so hard to start with and whatnot, I'd lost a tremendous amount of weight to start with. I'd got everything going. I had the biceps going, had the six pack going, everything like that. And then I went from being so active so often to be able to go to nothing.
Sure.
And I lost everything. I struggled with things, and I became so frail.
Yeah.
Like even my skin color had gone from being colorful to white. It was all white and pasty, and it wasn't real nice at all.
Like that's, we've been talking about the physical side of things.
Yeah.
What about the mental side of things, mate? Because there's a lot of things that I would assume that take place. One is obviously the fact that it all happened, and that can take a toll on yourself mentally as well. But then also too, there's probably was there aspects that affected you emotionally as well from the brain injury as well? Did you come out more of an empathetic, less empathetic? Did your mood change? Did your outlook on life? What can you explain to me some of the things that you felt?
Yeah, I've definitely changed since before that, but as well. It would partially be because of that, but it would also partially be because, well, at the time I was 19.
Sure.
I've
You're still growing up.
I've
You're
grown
mature.
up since then. Yeah. And that's something that the hospital, the specialist said will help me. Being so young means I have neuroplasticity.
Yeah, sure.
Which will help me regain all those things that I've lost as such.
I truly believe that, like, I think the frontal lobe doesn't mature until like 25 or something anyway. So
I'm still not mature.
So you're still maturing. Yeah. No, like when I say that, sorry, like I remember like I'm still partly immature now anyway, but I'm in my mid-30s. But no, I remember not feeling actually like I was a bit more mature until I was into my mid-late 20s anyway.
Yeah.
So coming out of that mentally, did it get it would have got you down and stuff like that, and you probably would have questioned, if I all these things like, what if I'd done this or done that, and that sort of bullshit,
So
did you were going through all those emotions too, mate?
Absolutely. Like myself, I'm a very dedicated person to something. Dad always says this, and he'll probably listen to this and say this exactly right.
Yeah.
But once I start something, I like to finish it.
Yeah. I from talking about your marathon that you did, I believe that 100%.
Yeah. So once I start something, I like to finish it, and it was so hard. Like for example, I started my apprenticeship, and before, like I'd had the accident and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was extremely lucky they did what they did. They put my apprenticeship in suspend as such.
Okay, sure.
So it gave me the opportunity to come back at a later time.
And continue on with it.
Yeah.
Not have to start again.
Yeah.
That's lucky.
Absolutely. And so if it wasn't for that mindset
Yep.
and my determination to be able to get it done, I don't reckon I would have finished my apprenticeship.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I've done a dual trade. It's not just electrical. It's also instrumentation as well.
Sure.
So I've technically been to TAFE for twice as long as you normally would go to.
Of course, yep.
And yeah, it's not hard, not easy at all. And like, Dad made the joke because Dad runs a plumbing business.
Yeah, okay.
And Dad made the joke before I went back to work, he's like, just think, if you struggle being an electrician, you can always come and be a plumber and shovel some shit for us.
Well, you always got something to fall back on, mate. So there's nothing wrong with that. At least you know you got that job security if you need it. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. But like, of course, there's other things I struggle with. Like, it's, you struggle, like, I like to get things done, and I always used to be, I still am. People will say they look at stuff I've built and stuff I do. Like, I'm a real hands-on person.
Yeah, sure.
And they look at stuff I do and they think you're such a perfectionist.
Yeah,
and yeah, they're not wrong.
Yeah, that's all right.
But I've got to the stage where it's developed me to be able to, like, there's times when you can be a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And then there's times when you can't be.
Yeah, of course.
Work, there's times when you gotta just get the work done because they're relying on you.
Yeah.
And there's times when you can definitely get into it and pay a bit more attention to the finished product looking great.
Did you, so, you know, like in saying that, like now that you are 5 years post injury,
Yep.
what, you know, how is your cognitive function now? So like with your hands and all that sort of stuff, is it a lot better now? Like did they say you ever get back to 100%, or is it more like, you'll be like 90%, you know, or?
I can see the differences.
Yeah.
I actually think looking at it, it's the good part is that I can actually see the differences. If I couldn't see the differences, then there's something definitely wrong there.
Yeah, sure.
But like I was saying before, I can see my memory's not as good as it used to be, and I struggle to, like, I carry a notebook around everywhere.
No, look, that's not a bad thing either, mate. Like, I don't know what person would class. I don't know how you define someone as having a good memory anyway, unless it's like one of those sort of like picture memories or whatever they call it. But
believe it or not, I used to have one of them.
Did you? Yeah,
no longer.
Fair enough. I have to carry a notebook around because I forget shit. And but also too, as you get older, you get busier, you got more things coming in.
Exactly.
So generally, you can only put so much bandwidth into your head before it gets full anyway.
Yeah.
So what do you do these days to keep yourself active and busy? You said that you were running. Do you still do? You stopped that too, have you?
I wouldn't say I've stopped it. I'm just
not as.
I'm
more casual.
Yeah, because of my, like, I've struggled with my legs still.
Sure.
It's an
Is
ongoing.
it both of them, or is it one particular one?
One particular one. I don't know whether, like, looking back at my shoes from before I had my accident versus now, my shoes before the accident show the same signs.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was something. Prior.
Something's carried over, but it's just worse now.
Yeah. Okay. Rightio.
And my stride isn't great on my feet, and it causes me to lock up my right ankle, and I don't have ankle flexibility.
Sure.
And then
was it one side of the brain that was particularly injured because of the impact?
Yeah.
Did it affected the other side of the body?
Yeah, I'll quickly grab something and show it to you.
You're right. No, you're right. You're going to show me some photos, are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you're right. So Hilly brought his phone with us, and on his phone he's got some of the photos from his injury. So what we're going to do as well, we'll actually put some of those. I'll actually attach some of those photos to some of the reels that we made. Yep. That I'll get my mate Nico to do. So this is some of the photos, is it?
Yeah. So if we look here, this is the so this I have. How I was saying about the holes that I've got in the front of my head.
Yeah.
So see at the front there.
So this is a scan of his brain.
Yep. This wasn't actually until I got this
Oh, yeah.
on the
Wow.
day before or 2 days before or something.
Yeah,
I
sure.
left Brisbane Hospital.
Yeah.
See on the right side there at the top how it's like darker.
Darkened. Yeah. So we're talking the front right of his brain, looking at it from a bird's eye view, looking down at his brain. The right hand side at the front is very dark.
Yeah, that's actually better than what it was. So
That's better than what it was. So that's the main impact of the
if
injury
you're
right there.
looking at that,
Yeah.
it's dark because the fact that was a cavity. So
Okay.
it
Right.
actually pushed my head across
Did
to
it
the
really?
left-hand side. Yep.
Okay. So that's a void.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Okay.
see at the back.
Ah.
there,
Yeah. Okay. I see. And that thing at the back there.
that's like a cannula.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
There's a
that's
hole drilled in
there's
my
a hole.
skull.
Yeah,
And then the tube goes down the outside of my neck and down my rib cage into the top of my stomach.
wow.
And that's what drains the fluid from before the blockage.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll post that. We'll post that up on the social media as well, and I'll probably attach it into one of those videos. So
Yep.
I'll get you to send us that photo
Yeah.
after you're finished.
I'll do that.
Yeah, that'd be good, just so that people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty invasive, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, seeing that stuff, that's crazy. What did you did you have any nerve damage or anything like that from all that sort of stuff? Do you have like anything with like tingles or anything from, because it's all it's all connected.
I mean, I
No,
don't
you don't
really
really
feel
know.
anything.
Yeah, okay.
but yeah, I smacked my head, of course. I can feel it still. It doesn't feel great,
Yeah.
but I can still feel it. So.
Wow, that's crazy, mate.
Yeah.
Seeing that stuff. So what do you? So is that cavity that area that we're talking about? Did it actually fill back up? Is that what? Did it move back over, or has it stayed in the same spot, or did that?
Well,
I'm not too
that
sure.
there is,
Yeah.
as I was saying, that's before, like 2 days before I left Brisbane Hospital.
Okay, sure.
I had, so this sort of goes back a little bit, to the third surgery I had.
Okay.
So after the second surgery, I had another scan and I still had fluid build up in my head.
Was it purely to relieve that fluid? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
The surgery was? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it was to relieve the pressure that's
Sure.
built in your head because
Yeah,
you're not
okay.
supposed to have any.
No.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
when they by that point I had started to regain some sort of consciousness.
Sure.
And I knew what was going on. I wasn't just I didn't know exactly, of course, but I knew I was myself.
Yeah, sure.
Like everything still felt like a dream to myself, but
Yep.
it was getting better. And at that point, my family had signed the surgery forms and whatnot for the 2 previous surgeries.
Yeah.
But at this time, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. So your family were acting as
And like at this time, the doctors came and they said to myself and my family, we're gonna have to do this next surgery to relieve that pressure. And because I was in a somewhat good state,
Sure.
they made me sign the paperwork.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
And yeah, so that was extremely hard for me to come to the stage to be able to be ready to sign that paperwork, because I was signing paperwork where they're physically drilling into my brain.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
That's not
That'd be
easy at all.
really scary, mate.
Absolutely,
Knowing that that's what has to be done.
Yeah.
I would be petrified, mate. That something such invasive was going to be happening to my head. Like I would have been shitting myself.
Yeah, and this actually joins to that one. So
Yeah. So that one. So the first one was the scan of the brain from the top,
I'll show you this one.
from the point.
So that is
So that's the scar.
that's
from,
the scar where
Yeah,
they actually
wow.
accessed the back of my head.
So for the people who are listening, Hilly's showing me a photo, the back of his head where they've shaved, and they've essentially made like an upside down U shape incision there, where they would have obviously opened up and went into the back of the skull there. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 10 stitches there. Staples, I would say. They'd be staples. They wouldn't have been sutures.
I believe they were.
Yeah, they were
Actually,
staples.
there was I believe
Internal
they did internal
stitches, and then
stitches and then stapled
staples.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah.
That's crazy, mate. It's amazing how. Well, you know, coming in, meeting you for the first time today, I would never have thought that you had such a traumatic injury.
Looking at me now, you can't see it, but if you know me, like this is sort of links back to what you were saying before as well, like things I struggle with now.
Mm-hmm.
People who sometimes I believe people who knew me before,
Sure, yeah,
and now haven't had much to do with me since.
mm-hmm.
They look at me and think, righto, he's been through that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be what he used to be. He's not going to be able to do this. And that, they've lost trust in me, as the simplest way to put it. And that makes it extremely difficult to get through stuff. And again, it just links you back to being dedicated and making sure you put,
Do you see yourself as two different people, mate, now? Or do you see yourself as a different person after that? Yeah,
absolutely.
But do you see yourself better for it? Do you have an appreciation for the things in life now, mate? You know that you've come to that. You were literally knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
You're knocking on there and lucky no one answered.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My best mate, I used to live next door to him. So we've been friends since we were 5.
Yeah, sure.
And he's done so much to help me. He really has.
That's
I
good.
wouldn't be the person I am now if it
Good
wasn't
to
for
have
him.
that support, mate. It really is. And at the end of the day, mate, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Mate, you're going to get these people that think that you're a different person for a negative reason after an accident or something like that. But, mate, there's different things change over life. You know, people change for no other reasons. They just change. They just mature and they get older. It's moving on to the next stage of their life.
Absolutely.
Friends do come and go.
Yeah.
Certain friends will be there for a certain part of your life.
Yep.
And then as you go into the next part of life, there will be other people that you will meet and that you'll adapt and make good friends with. Yeah. And then some of those people that are in that previous life of yours, per se, your younger area of your life, some of them, you know, they might not appreciate where you're going or what you're doing and stuff like that. And they're people that you don't need in your life. And I'm not dissing
you
anyone,
meet up
but
with them anyway, and they're still they're all happy and whatnot.
I'm just talking about that 1%, mate.
Yeah,
There's just that one person that you know, they're like, oh, you've changed.
Yeah.
You know, fucking blah blah blah. You know, it's like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Don't worry about it. I got, you know, there's more things to worry about than that shit.
Absolutely.
You got to get busy living.
Yep.
You know, fuck.
And you say that. It's a good point. So I've changed to the point where everyone uses the analogy, you've got to work like that. It is true to a point, but you also can't kill yourself working.
No.
Like I've changed my perspective on the point where like I've gone away, like stuff like that, just going on holidays, the simplest things, like going away with mates and enjoying life and everything like that. Like it's something that a lot of people don't do. Like I've got to the point where
you're enjoying things in life. You've gone through, you've experienced a traumatic time in your life.
Yep.
A near-death experience, what some would say. And coming out of it a better person, a better appreciation for life, and appreciating the downtime as well.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not advocating people not to work and just go and live a holiday for the rest of their life.
No.
That's not the case at all.
That's not it.
No, but what we're saying is work hard and live hard.
Absolutely.
And enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy what the times to come.
Yep.
And it does require you need to work for it.
Yeah.
You have to. You definitely do.
I absolutely work my bum off. You can tell I say that.
But you've got to do those things.
Yeah.
You know, and especially while you're younger too.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with people working their ass off.
Yeah.
You know what that does? That compounds itself. That compounds so that later on in life, you know, you only have to put so many year investment into working your ass off, and then it pays dividends in the long run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it'll give you the freedom to go and do some more traveling and enjoying life and all the bits and pieces.
Yep.
Because you sacrifice those years early and on. You build those foundations for something to come.
Yeah.
And now that has come, you can enjoy those things in life
exactly.
and stuff like that.
Like I went through so much time there where I wasn't doing a lot. And I've finally got to the point where I've, as you're saying, built those foundations.
Of course.
And now taken not advantage, but taken use of them.
Of
as
course,
such.
that's
So,
it. You're paying out your dividends.
Exactly.
You're getting your dividends.
Yeah.
You know, look, my wife and I, same thing. Look, I understand. I understand completely about being reminded of our own mortality. Our mortality and life is precious, and
Very much so.
that we have a limited amount of time to be able to do things. But there's also a fine line between that time being constantly worried about having to pay your bills and constantly living in fear that you're not going to be able to make it to the next week, and as opposed to working your ass off, doing your bits and pieces, and then later on down the track enjoying some of the fruits of your labor, so that you can enjoy those times.
There's many different ways to attack it. There really is.
Of course there is, definitely. So, you know, there is that fine line between the two. My wife and I did the same thing. We sacrificed a lot of years in our earlier years building the pathways for things to do now, where I can sit down here and have this podcast and talk to people.
Exactly.
Because I have the freedom to do it. I worked my ass off earlier on in the years, built myself up to a point where I have the ability to be able to do this. So, you know, and that's a bit of proof in the pudding itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you just got to set your foundations to start with and go from there. Like, that's
definitely.
all it is.
Yeah, and then just have appreciation for that stuff. So you obviously have an appreciation for it now. And do you have any aspirations or things that you want to do at the moment? What are you looking down the future now for yourself?
Well, with my work, I love to continually challenge myself.
Sure.
And I love learning.
Yeah.
I finished school with, I'd got a real, like at the time it was still the OP system.
Yeah.
And got a good OP. I got accepted in university and whatnot. And I was going to do Bachelor of Engineering.
Yeah.
At the time, I was sick of sitting in a classroom, as many people are.
Yeah, mate, I was exactly the same. I was terrible.
Yeah.
I was terrible. Earlier on in years, I was fine. No problem. Loved it. Loved doing it. As soon as I got to about 16, 17, grade 11, grade 12, you know, found cars and girls and party and all the other shit that goes with it. Yeah, I know. And the last thing, you know, that takes precedence over schooling.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I actually probably wouldn't change a single thing because everything led up to where I am now, and I'm grateful for everything that I have. You know, beautiful wife, beautiful kids.
Yeah.
Great job. Great businesses. Yeah. So, you know, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
In some ways.
Yeah,
in some ways.
Getting back to that, like at the point now, in the future, I reckon I'm back at the stage where I could, like, I don't want to be on the tools my whole life.
Of course, yeah.
And I want to get to the stage where either I'll do my diploma or I'll go back and do engineering and shift from being on the tools electrically to whether I'm being in an office job, like a higher power as such, or being an engineer, something along those. I'll see what happens, but wherever it goes, that's where it goes.
So if you could take some things away from what you've told us today, if you could pass on some of your experiences that you've enjoyed, what would be some of the things that you could say? Like from the way that I can see it, it looks like mentally strong, have an idea of wanting to drive and persevere through the pain and everything that you're going through to see the finish line and come out a better person after it.
Yeah.
Anything else that you can probably share, you know, because I'm sure there would have been times that you were doubting what was going on in your own mind too.
Yeah, getting back to work was a very hard thing. Yeah. And I didn't even have a license when I got out of hospital. Like the simplest things of getting my license back. It was like physically going and doing another test with the transport department, and I had to have an occupational therapist in the car as well. Like,
really?
There's different things like that that you don't see, like other people don't see.
Yeah, what about the simple things like just going to the toilet?
Yeah.
Or or having to...
Yep, I had to learn all that again.
That's crazy.
Everything again. It was not easy at all.
And it's crazy to think that you just don't appreciate some of the most simplest chores or some of the simplest things that you do during the day, hey?
Yeah. It all's like, even myself now, it all comes across as easy. But for people who don't have that luxury of it being so easy, it's just one of the little tiny things in life that they would absolutely love to have that they don't.
Yeah.
Like it's the kind of thing where you take, what's the particular word? You take advantage of being able to just do it. You think it's
you become complacent.
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
understand that something as simple as wiping your own ass could be an absolute task for someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Like
You don't appreciate the fact that you can do that.
yeah.
And then it's these incidences that reassure people that
Yeah.
how lucky you do have some certain things. Because, there is times in anyone's life where you can sit down and, you can go, why me? Blah, blah, blah. And then you got to go back and go, you know what, there's some other people that are doing it a lot harder than what I've got going on.
You say that, and that's exactly, don't get me wrong, I've had moments like that.
Of course, everyone does. Of course.
I've had
it's a
moments
natural
like
part of
that,
life.
so-
People go through those moments of doubt. I do it to myself as well.
Like, there's
it's
other
just, you know
people-
what it is, but it's also having the ability to recognize that some people do have it a lot worse than you do.
Absolutely.
You
Like,
know? But then also take that and use that as your fuel to appreciate life.
Yep.
And to go out and do something for yourself.
it gives you a reason to make things better.
Of course
it really
it
does. So,
Yeah. And
it's-
so, like 5 years on down the track now, you've got your license back. You're fully employed.
I've got my electrical trade.
You got
I've
your
the
electrical trade.
license.
You got your license. You're running. You've done a marathon.
Yep, I've had a lot of stuff sorted, and
Yep.
believe it or not, I used to go riding with my dad a lot.
Yeah.
My dad said to me on the weekend, "Do you think you can bring yourself to going for a bike ride again?"
What did you say?
I was like, "Maybe," and he says the thing of, "Do you reckon you can ride at the go to work Monday pace?"
That's a good idea. I like that one. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, he always used to say that back then as well. And of course, being young, like I loved the thrill.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
going
yeah,
for the
of course.
fast times and whatnot. So
No, good on you, mate. That's a motivational thing for it in itself. So, for the listeners there, after going through that, rehabbing to learn everything, at the end of the day, 5 years on down the track, we've got Illy here he's got his trade, he's got his license, he's got his aspirations for things that he wants to do in life. That in itself is a nice motivation for people.
there's light at the end of the tunnel always.
That's a good analogy, mate. I like that one.
Yeah.
So, mate, thank you very much for coming on the show with us today. Now, I do have a nameplate for you. Normally, we give them to you on the show. Now, I haven't got it because I was running a bit late this morning.
Yeah.
But it's down there in the shed. So see on the lid here. See how it says my story's been told, the Deadass podcast. So this is actually a lid from a coffin.
Oh wow!
So this is actually instead of a coffee table, it's our coffin table.
Yep.
So we took some legs from a bedside tables and converted it into a coffin. So this coffin desk or coffin table.
Yep.
Has a nameplate on it. That nameplate is what's used for the coffins.
Okay.
So we inscribe one for you, mate. I do have one for you. So I'll give it to you after the episode. And the general run of those seems to be to put them on the bedhead. So if you do have a
It'll have to end up there, won't it?
yeah. If you do, mate, send us a picture of it so I can put it on the socials. Now we normally do have I normally have a shot of the Don Julio. Did you want a shot of one of those, mate, or you?
Oh, we can give it a go anyway.
You want to have a shot at it?
I mean, I'm not the biggest shot person, but we'll give it a go.
I can give you a little one if you want. You don't have to.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I've got water here. We'll be fine.
Are you allowed to have it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all right. Just checking. So,
Believe it or not,
Yeah.
that was something I couldn't do for 2 years as well.
have a drink.
Yep.
Oh, but that makes sense though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that medically? Was it medically why you couldn't? Yeah. I thought that'd be the case.
Medical reason, it just wouldn't give me the.
Well, I could
to get back to where I was.
Oh, of
so,
course, I
yeah.
could imagine it would. Well, inhibits people's cognitive
Yeah,
functions.
exactly.
So I like to do that on a regular.
I do now too.
Yeah. Did you? Here, I'll swap you. I'll give you that. I'll give
you
a
sure?
little- Yeah. I'll have the big one. You have that one. They're much the same anyway, really.
Doesn't matter anyway. I'm sure it'll go down.
So cheers, mate, to good health. Let me know what you think. All right.
It's not even bad.
It's not bad.
It's not even bad at all.
Yeah, mate.
You look like you're dying.
Yeah, I am. That tastes like dog shit. That's what I've been telling. The Don Julio dog shit. So there you go, mate. That's no. Well, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. For Healy, he reached out to us, sent us a message, and told us his story. And I also want to just mention on this episode today that if there is people out there that have a story that they do want to tell, like Hilly, to reach out to us, reach out via messenger, email. Our email is deadasspodcast01@gmail.com. Follow us on the socials, the Deadass Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. If you do have a story that you want to tell, feel free to send us through a message. If you have any questions or anything like that as well, feel free to do that as well. Do you have any questions, mate, about the funeral side of things?
Not at this moment.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, so please send us those messages if you want, and we'll touch base, and we might have you on the show. So thanks to everyone for the follows, the likes, and the sharing the love. We love you all. Thanks again, Hilly, for coming on today, mate. No, I appreciate it. And all the best for the future, mate. Your future endeavours, and I'm sure you're going to kick ass like you did at everything else there,
We'll
mate.
try to anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Good on you, mate. Thanks for that.
Cheers, eh?
Talk soon. Cheers.
you.
Bye, mate.